Unlearn and reprogram. Unlearn and reprogram. I'm gonna tell y'all what I mean by unlearn and reprogram. The hard truth, the honest to God truth, the uncomfortable truth is, bro, just because it was the norm in your family does not mean that it's okay, does not mean that it's the right way to go. The way that you're supposed to go has to be dictated by where you want to end up. The way that you're supposed to go has to be dictated by where you want to be in the future. Just because that was what your parents did does not mean that that is what you should do. You have to unlearn some stuff so that you can grow. Everything that our parents taught us wasn't always right because they was probably trying to figure it out just how we trying to figure it out in our 20s and stuff like that. Just because you were taught something does not always mean that that is the way to go. Sometimes you have to unlearn things. Bro, there are people that think that food stamps, that poverty, and all of that type of stuff, and no disrespect to people that go through that stuff because I've went through that stuff. But bro, some people have gone through it so long in their life, or their parents went through it or whatever. When they get older, they think that that is the cycle that they have to continue, and that's wrong. Sometimes you did have to unlearn things, and you have to reprogram your mind. And you have to, it's like you got to be intentional about the programming that you have, because we're all programmed. We all have a set of norms. We all have things that we have going on in our heads based off of our environment and based off the things that we were taught, based off of the things that were said in front of us. And what you got to understand is some things you have to unlearn, and you got to reprogram your mind. And if you don't reprogram your mind, you will continue to do the same stuff. You cannot become a different person. You can't become a butterfly if you are still thinking the same way that you were when you were just a caterpillar. If you get what I'm saying. Meaning that you have to reprogram your mind. You can't think the same way that you used to think, because that thinking got you to where you are today. So some things you gotta unlearn. A lot of stuff you gotta unlearn. Bro, it's a lot of, forget just food stamps and stuff like that. There's a lot of guys that grew up in the hood, that grew up in conditions like that, and their environment has taught them that that is the norm, and that is the way that you're supposed to act. That is the way that you're supposed to move when you moving through our society. You're supposed to keep a hood mentality. You're never supposed to grow. A lot of those people never grow because they never unlearn and they never reprogram their mind, so they never grow. You gotta reprogram your mind in order to grow. That's why it's about change. People often say, I'm never going to change, I'm always going to stay the same. If you're going to stay the same, I need you to get away from me, because I need people that's growing. I need people that's going this way. You see what I'm saying? I don't need people, if you're not growing, if you're not changing, bro, if you're not changing, if you're not unlearning and reprogramming, you're not growing. I'm not sitting here saying that everything that your mother taught you, I'm not sitting here saying that everything your father taught you was wrong. But what you gotta understand is, oftentimes, they didn't know what they was talking about in a lot of instances. You gotta look at people's results, and you have to look at results. And if your results show you that you've been going the wrong way, it's time to unlearn and reprogram. We grow up thinking that things are one way and things are this way because that's what we were taught, or that was the norm in our family. Bro, it's people that pass down Section 8 and stuff like that to their kids, bro, and they continue to cycle and continue to cycle and continue to cycle. I got no problem with people taking advantage of assistance when they need it for a specific amount of time, but you got people that's been on it for the last 10 years, and so 10, 20 years, and so when they have kids, and when they kids get 18, or when they kids grow up, all they do is pass the game down to them. Now they telling them how to get the food stamps. Now they telling them how to get the Section 8. And they think in their mind that that is okay and that's the way to live, because that's what they've been taught. That's what their mother showed them. That's what their father showed them. Their father and their mother showed them to go get the assistance and always live under this type of threshold so that you can qualify for welfare. You can qualify for this and for that. It's sad, but it's the honest to God truth. There are people that need to unlearn that type of stuff. They got to reprogram their mind that you don't have to live like that. You can actually go and get a career. You can actually go and get a business. You can actually go and invest. You can actually live a different type of way if you reprogram your mind. But the thing is, people thinking the same, and they think that they're gonna get different results. You're gonna keep getting the same results that you've been getting if you do not unlearn things and reprogram your mind. You have to reprogram your mind, and you gotta program it with things that are going to be beneficial to you. You have to program it with productive things. You have to, bro, you did have to be intentional about what you feed your mind and what you let into your mind. Just because you seen your mother do it, just because you seen your grandfather do it, or your grandmother, or this person or that person that you love, and you can still love them, that does not mean that it was right. That does not mean that they did it the right way. That does not mean that that should pass down to you. Some things you got to unlearn. Your environment, sometimes your environment mess you up in the head, and you think that this is the way that you're supposed to live, and you think that, oh, this is how it's always been, so this is how it's got to stay. No, you can live differently. You don't have to live how you've been living. And if you grew up in a situation where you may have struggled in your family and stuff like that, that does not mean that that trauma or that lifestyle has to be passed down to you, and you got to live like that because your parents live like that. And forget just your parents. Even if you have programmed your mind, even if you programmed by society and you think that you gotta have sex with 1,000 women, you gotta do this, you gotta do that, you go together. Bro, our culture teaches us that going to jail is cool. We gotta unlearn and reprogram. It is not cool to go to jail. It is not cool to be trying to be fake tough and you end up in jail because you done something to somebody, or you disruptive, or you a menace to society. That's not cool. All of the stuff that we hear in rap songs and stuff like that, we gotta unlearn and reprogram. And I'm gonna be honest with y'all. Do I listen to that music? Yeah, I listen to some music like that, but at the same time, I'm aware that those things can't get into my head to where I think that those things are real. That's entertainment to me. But see, the thing is, it's a lot of kids out here that don't understand the difference. They think that these people are really living like this, and they are programmed to think that this is cool. They're programmed to think that living a certain way and doing certain things is cool because they heard it in a rap song, and that's not cool, bro. You gotta unlearn and reprogram your mind. You gotta program your mind based off of where you want to go and the life you want to live. That's how you create the program. That is how you create the program. That's how you create the code that you need to download into your head, download into your mentality. Is you gotta know where you want to go. If you want to end up in jail, okay, cool. Keep that programming that's going to get you in jail. If you want to go and live life and be able to travel and be able to do things, be able to take care of your family, be able to have a beautiful wife, be able to have a beautiful family, all that other stuff, you got to program your mind with that type of stuff. If you want to lose weight, you got to program your mind with that type of stuff. If you want to gain weight, you got to program your mind with that type of stuff. Whatever you want to do, that's the program that your brain has to be running. But you got to unlearn the old stuff that you've been operating off of for the last however many years, depending on how old you are. There's a lot of stuff that we got from our parents. There's a lot of stuff we get from society. There's a lot of stuff we get from our environment that we have to unlearn and reprogram, bro. You gotta, and it's a constant thing. It's a constant thing. It's not a thing that's gonna happen overnight. It's not a thing you just gonna figure it out and it's just gonna be that. That's not how it go. It's a constant unlearning and reprogram, unlearn and reprogram, unlearn and reprogram. You gotta get all of that stuff that's holding you back out your mind, bro. You gotta change your mentality. You gotta change your mindset, Slim. I'm trying to tell you, I'm being so honest with you, bro. Just because that is what your mother said don't mean it's true. Just because that's what you saw in your environment don't mean it is right. Just because somebody taught you something don't mean that was the way to go. You gotta program your mind based off of the results that you want to have. If you want messed up results, then keep a messed up program in your mind. But you gotta be intentional about it. You have to be absolutely intentional about it. You got to pay attention. You gotta be aware of what you're doing. You gotta be aware of what you're consuming. You gotta be aware of what you listen to. You gotta be aware of the people that surround you. I'm telling y'all, bro, I know you love your mother, I know you love your father, but just because you love them, that don't mean that they did it the right way. Look at their results. If you want those same results, then keep that same programming. But if you are in a situation where whoever raised you, whatever the case is, or whatever your environment look like, whatever you got your programmer from, you need to look at the results of that program. Figure out the results of that program and see if that's where you want to end up. You want to end up in jail? Okay, cool. Keep that jail mentality. I'm gonna do something to him if he says something to me wrong. Keep that mentality if you want to. But you gotta unlearn and reprogram if you want success. You gotta unlearn and reprogram if you want to grow. I don't want to stay the same. I told y'all this before. I'm not looking to stay the same. I am looking to change. I want my life to change. I want my mentality to change. I'm not one of these people that want to stay the same. I'm not gonna stay the same. I'm not gonna stay the same. Why would I stay the same? That does not benefit me to stay the same. If I stay the same, I must still be in the same place that I'm at now, and I'm not satisfied with where I am now. So I have to continue to program my mind. I got to continue to program my mind. I got to continue to do it day after day, year after year, month after month, whatever, bro. But you gotta unlearn a lot of the old stuff so you can get rid of those habits, because those habits are often dictated by your environment, the things that you were taught, the things that you thought were normal. And it's not. It's not, bro. I'm gonna be honest. I see it all the time, bro. It's people that get passed down poverty. Bro, parents pass down poverty to their kids. They pass down the poverty mindset to their kids. Bro, I've seen it. I've seen mothers have daughters and they tell them, hey, this is how you go get you a check. This is how you go get you this. You have your baby and they gonna take care of you, and they pass it down and they pass it down. And you know what? People never get out of it, because they never unlearn that. They never, and I'm not saying that everybody's parents like that, because your parents probably, and I hope, instill good guidance in you and instill good values and morals and principles and didn't teach you stuff like that. But we got to be realistic and understand that stuff does happen. I've seen it with my own eyes, bro. I've seen it, and I've seen people pass down poverty. I'm telling y'all, bro, you have to unlearn. You got to reprogram. You got to make sure that your brain is downloaded with productive information. You got to make sure that your mind is downloaded with the program that you need to succeed. You got to make sure that your mind has downloaded the program that it needs to get to where you're trying to go. That is what you need to program into your head. If you don't like your results, or if you don't like the results that you've been getting, oftentimes that means you may have to unlearn some stuff. You can't get different if you keep doing the same thing. How do you think you're gonna get different if you keep doing the same thing? You keep listening to the same things. You keep having the same mentality. You never change. You never relearn. You never unlearn. You never reprogram. You never figure it out. Bro, it all starts with your mentality. You see what I'm saying, Slim? It all starts with your mentality, bro, because your mentality is what's going to give you, bro, your mentality is everything. That's your mindset, bro. So the way you walk around, that's going to dictate what happens in your life. The way that you approach issues, that's what's going to happen. That's what's going to dictate what happens in your life, bro. So I'm telling y'all, I'm saying all this to say, you gotta unlearn and reprogram. You have to unlearn and reprogram. Just because that was normal in your family, that don't mean that it's always normal. Just because that's what somebody taught you don't mean that that's the best thing to do. Just because this is what your environment said. Make sure that your mind is programmed with the information that you need to get to where you're trying to go. I love y'all so much, and I'll see y'all in another one.